Showtime at the Apollo dope, and she paint the perfect picture, telling stories up in all the jokes. You don't really want the drama, bro, cause Mabel cool, Mayday nice, Mayday want all the smoke. Mayday, mayhem, Mayday, mayhem, Mayday, mayhem, Mayday, mayhem, Mayday, mayhem, Mayday, mayhem, Mayday, mayhem.
This is strictly a review. Please do not take any and all commentary seriously. This is just a review of a show. Thank you, and Mayday Mayhem. Ew. As we begin another episode of American Gods, Season 3, Episode 5, it starts as we usually start, with a story within a story. And we start at the World's Fair in Chicago in 1893. And as this happened in 1893 in Chicago, this being the very first World's Fair, there was people around the world displaying their many talents. And that's where we come upon Maximilian, an illusionist. As people watch him do his tricks, they grow weary because they know exactly what his tricks are deprived of, and, they not with the bullshit, to be honest. So, who do we find? We find a very young, very eager tech boy who is also a magician of his own, but he is a type who created the world's first animatronic, where it's actually like the first robot that was able to write. And the magician was intrigued by it. And, he was asking, people would ask them, we know now is media. Ask media, well, you would make more money if it could do more things, Why don't try to go into a little business with me? And, first media was like, no, no thank you. But then he thought about it. And he really was like, okay, well, maybe I should. But not with, of course, the magician. So, media makes some minor modifications. And he goes back and he makes his animatronic able to play chess. But it's not really able to play chess. It's actually him underneath it, moving the screws and everything under there to make it play chess. Who comes in and expose him? The magician himself. Why? Because it's like a dog-eat-dog world. And that's where we start off with American Gods. As we continue with this episode of American Gods, we go back to Berlice. Now, we know she's locked up, and she's pretty much being tortured by Bill Sanders' people because they are looking for him. But she is in a trance. And in this trance, she sees the Oretians. And they are talking to her, and they are telling her her true spirit, her true power, and what she really is made for. And they're telling her that she's a giver of life. And she's not really understanding it. Now, while all this is going on, Shadow and media is pretty much outside the place looking for her. They can't get in due to media not being 100%. So, media talking about going there, shooting up the place. And Shadow like, hell to the no, bro. We ain't doing that. Is you crazy? So, while they outside arguing, trying to get into the place because they know where Belize is, she's inside the place in a trance, and they about to waterboard that ass. They is not playing with her, but she does not hear, near, or see them. Why? Because she is in a trance with the Orishans. They're telling her her true power. They're telling her that she has real powers that she can really utilize and use. And as they're telling her and chanting and showing her her powers, all hell break loose and water start flooding in that place and flood the hell out of them.
May the optimism of tomorrow be your foundation for today. And if we must wait for the amazing salvation, may your temporary forever feel much less than a day. And as we is power, and we are powerless, and we just become nothing but you and they. May peace be in your heart, and may Orishas lead your way. Lead the way.
And as that chant is spoken, Belize flooded they ass. When I say she flooded they ass, water came out of nowhere. She was the giver of life, and I'm assuming death, because she lit they ass up. She gave them nothing left, and it was nothing but water everywhere to the brims. Now mind you, Shadow and Media is outside trying to get into her. They have no clue what's going on. No idea whatsoever. All of a sudden, the door flies open and they see people floating in water. And Media walks up to the door and he literally runs the fuck away because he starts to glitch up. He literally starts to glitch. He gets up and he runs away. And as Shadow is looking in the background, he sees a figure walking towards him. And whom is it? No other than Belize. And she is looking refreshed and looking whole and looking like, yes, I am here. So her and Shadow get up out that jam and they dip. Then next scene, they're walking around New York. She looks very refreshed, very happy, very esteemed and good, and they're walking, and she's telling Shadow that she was in there 2 days before she realized what power she had and how long it took her. And she was telling Shadow of her journey. So they pretty much just walking and chopping it up, and he's still trying to figure out his dreams. But I'm pretty sure we'll find out. Now, as Shadow has dinner with Belize, he's still talking to her in regards to his dreams about his mom and how he's still hurt. And she's telling him, you know, it's time for him to heal himself and to find his own journey and his own spiritual awakening. And let's not mention Wednesday is in the mental hospital trying to get his quote unquote goddess. And she steps in and looks down on him because he's in just so happen the same facility she's in. And he's lying down, barred down, and yeah, he knows she's there because he smiles as she walks away. Don't you never trust Wednesday. He's very, very cunning. But yet we also go back to Shadow. He's kind of sweet on the little reporter lady back in Wisconsin. He calls to check in and, just to see how she's doing. So he's trying to open his heart up to love once again after losing, Laura Moon. So he thinks. Let's not forget, back to Mr. Wednesday, always being cunning as he is. As he sits and talks to Demina, his goddess, he makes, quote unquote, a deal with her. If he can prove to her that he loves her and he still loves her and has always loved her, then she'll fight with him pretty much in their war. And he wants to give her goddess satire again, her following again. And he will give her all that, but he really wants her to be on that side because Wednesday is always behind one thing, and that is to get at this war. But let's not forget, he needs Shadow for that also. Now, we are back in Cairo, Illinois, with the scribe and the cab driver, not Salam. We're just going to call him Salam. Now, they're sitting up there going back and forth, having a playful banter about actually changing the funeral home's name when guess who walks in the door? None other than Laura Moon herself. And whom is she looking for? Wednesday. They are in shock and awe when they see her walk through that door. And we find out where the fuck Wednesday is. He's being pushed by Shadow to meet Demina in like the little atrium type area. And she's pretty much painting. But before they get there, Shadow and Wednesday is having a little conversation. He wants him to pull a number 37. Shadow is like he is not doing nothing that's going to get him to go to jail. But Wednesday wants Shadow to get the information he needs on the doctor to shut down pretty much the facility to get Demina released, and also to pretty much get Demina's money because she has a wealthy, healthy fortune that will help Wednesday on his little adventure of war. Now, once Shadow wheels Wednesday in, prior to that, he tells Shadow that Demina is his wife. And that's why he's really going so hard for her. And then he does the 1-2 sucker punch. He introduces Shadow to Demina as his son and lets Demina know that that's his son. Wednesday ain't shit, y'all. He ain't. She compliments Shadow. He gives his respects and he leaves. Then we go back to Cairo, Illinois, where the scribe is speaking with Laura Moon, and they're trying to figure out where does she come from. And she's telling them that she was in purgatory and how she just came back and how all she has in her possession is the remains of Mad Sweetney in a little bitty box. And she wants to find Wednesday to get revenge on that ass. Now, Laura Moon is really, really feeling some type of way because she really feels that it's her fault that Mad Sweetney is dead. And now her and Mad Sweetney is kind of connected because it was his blood and her blood that connected, that pretty much brought her back from purgatory. And she's talking with Celine, and he's telling her that, this gives him belief and she's very lucky to be here. And she's also telling him that he should do something more with his life than just mope around over the gin because he's gone. So she invites him to leave to go find Wednesday with her. The scribe gives him their car and they are off to look for Wednesday. But the scribe tells her of another place where she could possibly go. We have to find out where that exactly is, but I'm pretty sure we're going to find out where she's going. The con has begun. Shadow and Wednesday's assistant, they pull a whole little switcheroo on the doctor that owns the hospital, and they take all his information. They pull, we found out what a 37 is. She's the little sexy blonde and she does the little quick seduction, and they do the old little switcheroo. And they got him spinning out of his ass, and they call him on the phone and they tell him to release Demina and all the other patients within 24 hours. And they also tell him that they need money released to their bank account because they know he have money in the Cayman Islands. So they are taking his ass for a spin, and they get it done. Shadow goes back and reports to Wednesday and let him know that, look, we got it done. She'll be out. The papers will be signed in about 24 to 48 hours. So, your job has been done. And that's when Shadow finds out that Demina doesn't even want to leave. So he's like, wait a minute, I went through all of this and this woman doesn't even want to leave. So Shadow's a little pissed and he's angry. And he pretty much leaves Wednesday where he is. And he was like, you know what? You used me again. I'm out. I hope it was worth it. You got what you want yet again. And he leaves. But before he leaves, Demina walks up yet again and tells Shadow how sweet and kind and how loving he is and how much of a good soul he is, and how sometimes people do things that they don't want to do, or sometimes things just grow old. Time passes. Love sometimes goes away, and, because Shadow's still pissed because how Wednesday did leave his mom. Shadow's mom died when he was younger, and she suffered, and Wednesday was nowhere around. And now you have a wife, and Shadow's feeling some type of way. And, Demina kind of come in and soften the blow to let him know that, sometimes, life is not what it seems. And people change, they get older, and, and it's just the way things are. So it she kind of softens the blow for Wednesday because she knows what Wednesday is about. She knows that Wednesday is on bullshit. She is not dumb at all. But Wednesday knows that also. And she also lets him know that she's not dumb at all. And she lets Shadow know that he's a very enlightened young man. And that she even lets him know, in a sense, that she understands that Wednesday is on bullshit. So we will see what will happen. Now we find Tech Boy. Let's not forget, I might as well say, that, media is going through a thing where he is, for some reason, just infested or infected with whatever police did. So we find him running to a storage unit, and he finds his animatronic that we saw him with in the beginning when he was younger at the Chicago Fair. And he crawls up in it, and he's crying in dismay and discontent. He locks himself in it as he's crying, and he closes the curtain, and we don't see him anymore. Next thing we know, we are back at Lakeside, Wisconsin. And guess what? Shadow is back. He's at Mabel's diner, and he's getting him a pasties. Before he's getting the pasties, everyone's around here arguing about there's an underwear thief in town and things are going on. But as he's talking and getting the pasty, he's talking to Mabel, trying to catch up. He hears a voice next to him. A familiar voice. And as he looks to his left, who does he see? None other than Laura Moon. And we end there. So we will have to wait and see next time on what happens on American Gods. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and we will see you next time.